Namaskar. Today we discuss the transverse electric waves or TE mode in rectangular waveguides under the waveguide chapter for the microwave electronics. In our previous lecture, we have discussed the transverse magnetic waves or TEM mode in rectangular waveguides, and we have obtained the expressions for the field components and also for the cutoff frequency, cutoff wavelength, and guide equation. Similarly, for the rectangular waveguides, today we are again finding the similar expressions. For this, we consider that the T wave is propagating along z axis, which is the axis of the rectangular waveguide also. For T waves, the component of electric field along the axis of the waveguide, that is Ez, is 0, while Hz is a function of x and y coordinates. So the equation for the z component of the magnetic field is shown in equation number 1, which is given by Hz equal to Hz0 e raised to the power minus gamma z. So the factor, exponent factor e raised to the power minus gamma z is here considered, since we have taken the z axis as the direction of wave propagation, which is the axis of the rectangular waveguide. Here Hz is a function of rectangular coordinates x, y and z, while Hz0 here is a function of only x and y coordinates. So by utilizing the method of separation of variables, we are assuming Hz0 component as a product of two functions x and y, where x is a function of x coordinate, y is a function of y coordinate, so which is here expressed in equation number 2. The wave equation for the z component as already being derived in our previous lecture is given by del square Hz equal to minus omega square mu epsilon Hz. When we separate it in rectangular coordinates, then this will becomes del 2 Hz over del x square plus del 2 Hz over del y square plus del 2 Hz over del z square, and it is equal to minus omega square mu epsilon Hz. Substituting from equation number 1 the del over del z component by minus gamma factor, and del 2 Hz over del z square therefore will become gamma square Hz, and this equation will now take the form del 2 Hz over del x square plus del 2 Hz over del y square plus h square Hz, where h square is the sum of gamma square and omega square mu epsilon, and in this way, if we now substitute equation number 2 into this equation, and by utilizing the method of separation of variables, this equation will now take the form 1 upon x del 2x upon del x square plus h square equal to minus 1 upon y square del to y upon del y square. In this equation number 3, both the sides of the equation are function of only one coordinate. That is, the LHS is a function of x coordinate only, RHS is a function of y coordinate only. Since both sides are equal, so this can be possible if we take both sides equal to a constant, which we have assumed here as a square. So now in equation number 3, if we first consider the left hand side of this equation as a equal to a constant h square, as equal to a constant a square, in equation number 3, then this will takes the form 1 upon x del 2x over del x square plus h square minus a square. Since h square and a square both are constants, so if we assume a new constant b square in place of it, and therefore h square will also given by a square plus b square as shown in equation number 6. Now in equation number 5, which is a second order differential equation, so its solution will be given by x equal to c1 cos bx plus c2 sin bx. Similarly in equation number 3, if we now take the right hand side, that is the y component part, equal to a square, then this equation will gives us a similar type of solution, which is given by y equal to c3 cos ay plus c4 sin ay. Now in our equation number 2, we have considered the hz 0 as a product of x and y. So now from equation 7 and 8, we put the values of x and y in this equation, which gives us the value of hz0, which is the product of x and y, and this is shown in equation number 9, in which the unknown constants c1, c2, c3, c4 and similarly other constants is a, b and h, the values of these constants can be obtained by employing the boundary conditions. So the boundary conditions are the same as we have earlier discussed in our previous lecture of TM mode. The boundary condition is that the tangential component of the electric field is always 0 at the conducting walls of the waveguide. So the first condition, which is employed at x equal to 0 and similarly at x equal to a, where a and b, these are the wider and the shorter dimensions of the rectangular waveguide. So the metallic surfaces, wall surfaces of the waveguide at x equal to 0 and x equal to a, so these surfaces are x equal to this surface, this lies at x equal to 0. Similarly, this surface, this one, this lies at x equal to a. So at this surface, the tangential component of the electric field will be along y direction and z direction, since this plane is lying in the yz plane. So therefore Ey and Ez will be 0, which are the tangential components, and only Ex, which is the normal component to this surface can only exist. Similarly, at the other two conducting plates, y equal to 0 and y equal to b, so y equal to 0 is this plane, and similarly y equal to b is y equal to this y equal to b is this one, this plane. So these surfaces which lies in the xz plane, the tangential components will be Ex and Ez, and therefore they both will be 0 at these surfaces, and only the normal component which is along y axis can exist here. So these are the boundary conditions. We apply these boundary conditions one by one to evaluate the coefficients. Now, before applying these boundary conditions, again we are here mentioning the field components Hx, Hy, Ex and Ey. Shown in equation number 10, these field components we have earlier derived in our previous lectures by solving the Maxwell equations. Now for the T waves, since Ez is 0, only Hz exists. So therefore in the set of these equations, only the Hz component parts are shown in equation number 10 for the T waves. Now we apply the boundary conditions. The first boundary condition is that, as earlier discussed, at x equal to 0, Ey is 0. Ey and Ez both are 0. So Ey is 0. So from the equation number 10, the expression for Ey, which is equal to j omega mu upon h square into del hz over del x. So since we have earlier obtained the expression for hz0 as shown in equation number 9, so from this equation number 9, to apply this first boundary condition, the equation for Ey now become j omega mu upon h square, and derivative of partial derivative of hz with respect to x at x equal to 0. This will gives us the value of Ey equal to 0. This is the our boundary condition. Now applying this boundary condition, the derivative of hz with respect to x from equation number 9, this will gives us this equation, and in this equation for all values of y to vanish, this can be possible only if we take the value of C2, constant C2 to be 0. So when C2 is considered to be 0 in equation number 9, which now reduced to equation number 11. Now we apply the second boundary condition, which is at y equal to 0 plane surface, Ex component is 0. Again from equation number 10, Ex component, which is given by minus j omega mu upon h square into del hz over del y. Now at y equal to 0, when we apply this boundary condition in equation number 11, this gives us this equation C1 cos bx into minus C3 a sin ay plus C4a cos ay at y equal to 0. So when we put coordinate y equal to 0, this sin ay term vanishes, while this cos ay term will become unity, and we get C1a cos bx into C4. This is to be 0. So for all values of x, we have to, for all values of x, this equation to vanish, we have to take the value of this constant C4 to be 0, because otherwise if we take C1 to be 0 or cos bx to be 0, the entire field component equation 11 will vanish. So therefore we have to take C4 equal to 0. Now when C4 is equal to 0 is applied in equation number 11, this will gives us Hz0, which is shown in equation number 12. So here the product of C1 and C3 is considered to be here a new constant C, and we get this equation. Now to find out the values of the constants A and B, we will apply the remaining two boundary conditions, which are at x equal to 0, again Ey is 0. As earlier we have obtained the value of Ey from equation number 10. Again we put the value of Ey equal to 0 at x equal to a. This equation will gives us sin Ba equal to 0. It means Ba equal to m pi, where m is an integer. So this will gives us the value of the constant B, which comes out to be m pi upon a. Similarly, to obtain the value of the constant A, we will again apply the last boundary condition, that is at y equal to b, value of Ex, that is which is the tangential component, this will be 0. So this gives us the similar, by using the similar method, the value of the constant A, which comes out to be n pi upon b. It is interesting to note here that the values of the constants A and B, similar values we have earlier derived for the Tm mode also. Now from equation 10, if we put the value of Hz 0 obtained in equation number 12, so this will gives us the values of the all components, field components for the TEMN mode, and these equations are here: Hz 0 equal to C cos Bx cos Ay, Hx equal to gamma upon h square C B sin Bx cos Ay, Hy equal to gamma upon h square C A cos Bx sin Ay, and similarly the values of components Ex and Ey are also shown here. Now if we use the two equations 4 and 6, which gives us the values of the constant h square, which is from equation number 4, it is equal to gamma square plus omega square mu epsilon, and from equation number 6, value of h square equal to a square plus b square. And from this equation, if we find out the value of gamma, which is here under root h square minus omega square mu epsilon, substituting the value of h square equal to a square plus b square, here if we put the value of h square, which is m pi upon a whole square plus n pi upon b whole square. So in this equation here, propagation constant gamma, which is equal to alpha plus j beta. Alpha is the attenuation constant, beta is the phase constant. Now we find out the expressions for the cutoff frequencies. So in the expression for gamma, it can be seen that for lower frequencies omega, when omega square mu epsilon term is less than h square, gamma will be real, it means when gamma is real, it means the phase constant beta will be 0. So this shows that phase constant beta equal to 0 means there is no wave propagation, so which could not be possible here, since for the propagation of any wave, its phase changes as the wave propagates in the space. Therefore, for very small frequencies there is no wave propagation. So when we increase the frequency omega, and a stage will come when h square becomes equal to omega square mu epsilon, and this value of omega, for which we obtain the condition omega square mu epsilon equal to h square, this gives us the cutoff frequency omega c. This is the minimum frequency. It means below this cutoff frequency omega c there will be no wave propagation inside the waveguide. So this is similar as we have earlier discussed for the TM waves also. So this value of omega, which is denoted here omega c as omega c, this is called cutoff frequency. So for the frequencies above cutoff frequency, gamma is equal to j beta, means gamma will now become a complex quantity, and alpha, which is the attenuation constant, is equal to 0. So from our previous equation for gamma, when gamma is considered to be now j beta, the earlier expression will now become beta equal to under root omega square mu epsilon minus m pi upon a whole square minus n pi upon b whole square. So from these equations we have in this way defined the cutoff frequency. Cutoff frequency means cutoff frequency is the minimum frequency below which wave propagation does not occur in rectangular waveguides. So in terms of Hertz unit or cycles per second, we can also express Fc as shown in equation number 21 and 20 and 21. So in these equations, V0 is 1 upon root mu epsilon, which is the velocity of the wave in the dielectric medium. Similarly, we can define the cutoff wavelength. Cutoff wavelength is given by lambda c equal to V0 upon Fc, and from equation number 21, this gives us 2 upon under root m upon a whole square plus n upon b whole square. Cutoff wavelength is the maximum wavelength above which the wave propagation does not occur, and it depends on the waveguide dimensions a and b, and also on the mode number m and n. Similarly, the velocity of wave propagation Vg is given by omega upon beta. Substituting the value of beta in this equation from equation number 18, this will gives us the velocity of wave propagation inside the waveguide, which can be shown by these equations, and the last equation for Vg is shown in equation number 23. So all these facts we have also discussed in TM mode also. Now the guide wavelength lambda g can also be defined by Vg upon f. So if we put the value of Vg, which is omega upon beta, and the expression for Vg has already been derived by us from omega upon beta value. So if we put that value, the guide equation, the guide wavelength lambda g can be shown by equation number 25. The further simplification of equation number 25 will give us the guide equation, which is shown in equation number 26 and is given by 1 upon lambda 0 square equal to 1 upon lambda g square plus 1 upon lambda c square. So this is called the guide equation. Now we define the dominant mode. So from the expression of the cutoff frequency fc, which is equal to v0 upon 2 root m upon a whole square plus n upon b whole square. So here, since a and b, these are the waveguide dimensions. Also from our previous field equations, it can also be seen that we could not take m and n both integers to be 0, which will vanish all the field components. So therefore either of these m or n may be taken to be 0 and the other integer may have other integral non-zero integral values. So when we take m equal to 1 and n equal to 0 in this cutoff frequency equation, this will gives us the cutoff frequency v0 upon 2a. So this frequency shown in equation number 27, this is the minimum frequency, minimum cutoff frequency among all possible modes in T and Tm waves, since A is greater than B here. Because if we take m equal to 0, n equal to 1, the values of cutoff frequency which comes out to be then v0 upon 2b, which have a higher value than the value obtained for m equal to 1 and n equal to 0. So this particular mode for m equal to 1 and n equal to 0, this mode is designated as T10 mode. So this mode is called the dominant mode. So in rectangular waveguide, the dominant mode is the T10 mode, which have the lowest value of the cutoff frequency among all possible modes. Now from equation number 15, we can also obtain the expressions for the various field components for the dominant TE10 mode in the rectangular waveguide by substituting the value of m equal to 1, n equal to 0, and also substituting the value of h square, which is equal to a square plus b square, and a and b are respectively given by n pi upon b and m pi upon a. So substituting all these values, these are the expressions, field expressions for the dominant T10 mode, for which hz0 is given by c cos pi x upon a, hx0 equal to j beta a upon pi into c sin pi x upon a, ey0 is given by minus j omega mu a upon pi into c sin pi x upon a, and the remaining two components ex0 and ey0, ex0 and hy0, these are 0. So these field components are the values of components for the T10 mode. The complete field equations can be obtained after multiplying the time harmonic part, that is e raised to the power iota omega t, and also the z variation by e raised to the power minus gamma z. So after multiplying these two factors, the complete field components can be obtained. Now we discuss the degenerate modes. So degenerate modes means when other higher modes will have the same cutoff frequencies, then these are called the degenerate modes. So in waveguides, for higher order modes, it may be possible that the cutoff frequency values are same. However, the waveguide dimensions A and B are selected in such a way so that the higher order modes are suppressed and will not support the wave propagation. So the dimensions of the waveguide are selected only for the TE10 and TM11 mode. So in this way we have discussed all the possible parameters for the transverse electric waves in rectangular waveguides. In our next lecture we will discuss the field patterns and the excitation methods for these various TE and TM modes inside a rectangular waveguide. Thank you.